this is the testimony video, and before MB share his experience, I'm going to show him audience what he used to look like, okay, real quick, and then he's going to share his experience of the hair transplant with my clinic as well, and that's where he was, and a year later, look at that close-up view, and you see how natural and dense the hair result is. Right hand side, left hand side, top view. Look at that. Back, crown. Okay, so the stage is yours. So can you start from the beginning to how hair loss has affected you and your research and all this stuff?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the hair loss first. So with the hair loss, also, first of all, I want to say that I used to dye my hair. My mom had gray hair at 36.
Okay.
I started seeing gray hair about 40, so I was dyeing my hair. But I also just noticed that over time the hairline got higher and higher and higher, and the crown of the head. I have a vivid video camera system for security in my home, and whenever I saw that video outside and see that bald spot, that definitely was traumatizing for me. And then also I do triathlons, and when I go swimming and my hair's wet, boy, I could really see that skin, and I look at the pictures after I do a swim, and I feel like I look like I was bald. And when that happens, like for most men, you start wearing the baseball cap because you're a little bit embarrassed about the bald spot on top, and you want to cover up whenever you can. And it was frustrating for me and concerning that I was losing so much hair, and I really didn't want to be bald. And so anyway, I started looking into hair transplants. I did try before that. I did try some of the the topical treatments and the hair growth supplements, and just none of that was working for me. It was very frustrating and expensive. And I thought, if I could do it, I want to do it right. And so I looked into hair transplants, and I am a market research person by my career, and that's been my job for the last 15 years in tech, is do market research. So I like to research things and get the data. So I did take the time to look at several clinics that said they offered hair treatment, some of the popular brands you see on commercials and others. With Dr. Diep, what I noticed on his website was he had a much higher volume of references of people who were clearly happy with the results. And also what I noticed when I researched it, there's a lot of plastic surgery clinics where hair transplant is just one of many types of plastic surgery that they do. And I just got the feeling that, I didn't want to go somewhere where that's just one of many things on their menu of plastic surgery. I want to go somewhere who really specialized in hair transplants, and Dr. Diep, had offered that. And so
you don't want a jack of all trades and master of none. And that's
exactly.
true. That's true.
And they're all about the same price, and some are more expensive than your clinic, than Dr. Diep's clinic. And I just feel like having someone specialized with a high volume of references was something to consider. And then when you actually provided me, you might not remember, but you gave me the contact information of one of your other references to validate the truth of the results that you produce. And so that gave me the confidence to move forward with your clinic. And so my wife supported that. And so she saw the before and after up close, right? And so that's the true test with my wife, who sees me early in the morning or late at night, before or after we wear the hat or comb my hair. But anyway, so we moved forward with Dr. Diep, and basically we came here for the surgery as planned.
5:30, do you remember?
Yeah, it was, and you guys kind of knocked me out. I was half awake. I did have that experience, but you know what? For me, it was painless. A little bit of a long night. All was very vague, but painless. And luckily, for me, I felt like there's nothing traumatic about it for me. And then when we were done, a little bit of a shock at first, because you have to cut it really short in the areas where you do the transplant, and you need to wear some of those coverings to protect those areas. But I do appreciate that you had very specific instructions, how to shampoo your hair, certain products you should use, what to do, what not to do. This was really important to me. I am a little bit of a perfectionist, and so I did make sure I checked all those boxes. I checked with your staff to make sure I was doing all the right things. So. I was very disciplined in following your guidelines, but as a result, I remember after about 5 or 6 months for me, so I don't want to make any promises for others. Normally it's a year that people are supposed to wait to see results. But I did my family, my sister, my wife, after about 6 months, they already said, wow, that transplant really worked. And there are times when my hair is longer than this, and they saw the density of it, and they were really impressed. And my wife told me to give up the dye. The gray looks great, especially with that thick hair and that dense hair. And so I gave up the dye and just went with the natural look. We're really happy with that. And the results are so good that not only do I not have to wear a cap, to cover anything, but I feel like it's so dense right now. You saw in the pictures I comb it straight down, but I have to tell you, there's a lot of days where I wake up, I'm in a hurry to go to a meeting or go to work or to an event, where it's dense enough and thick enough that I don't even comb my hair. And so in those pictures, I wasn't covering up anything. The natural look is just very natural. It's clean enough and natural enough that I'll walk out the door in the morning sometimes without combing my hair and feel confident, feel great, and know that I've got a good look that I'm proud of. So for me, I can tell you that for me, it was well worth the money, well worth the effort, when you had to follow the instructions, and also well worth, the first 2 or 3 months where your head might be a little bit funny where it's shaved in different places. The last thing I would say is, I'm embarrassed to say this, but the exact naming of the type of surgery with the strip in the back.
FUT, right? Yeah, sure.
FUT. So that's what I had. I had a few people who told me not to go down that path from other clinics and other places, just saying you don't want that scar. But all I can say is on the back of my head, not one person has noticed, and my hair's short, and not one person has noticed that scar or that strip that was used for the transplant. And I've never planned on being bald or shaving all my hair off. So we discussed that, and you mentioned that that's probably the best path for me to have thick, good results. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So I told Dr. Diep before he even asked me, I just said, I'm so happy with the results. I'd be happy to be one of those many references that he has that validate the results, which really have been exceptional.
Thank you.
It's been well worth the investment.
Yeah, thank you. It's my passion actually to do that, and it's when you see your work of art come to life a year later, it's really touch you in a way, because you put a lot of effort into it, and for you, not just your effort, but the patient is going through that emotionally and physically as well. And when it comes out nice and it's natural and it's dense and give a positive effect for the patient.
Yes.
That's what really drives me every day, and I've been doing for 21 years. Now, and again, the FUT might not be for everybody.
Yes.
Okay, and I always discuss that with my patient, because I perform both FUE and FUT. Some clinic they can only do FUE, they push for that, and some clinic only do FUT, they push for that.
I noticed that. My department, so I noticed that.
Yeah, and I perform both, right? And then, so you can see some celebrity opt for the FUT and some celebrity opt for the FUE. There's no right or wrong answer. The most important thing is choose the surgeon who have a lot of the artistic skill to give you the most natural look, and who have a lot of reference, who allow a lot of before and after to give you a confidence that he can repeat and produce a great result.
And I got to tell you, at the end of the day, there are two big wins for me when it comes to confidence. To tell you, dyeing my hair was a pain, because you always have to have that full color before it starts becoming exposed as being dyed. You get insecure about that. Then on top of that, I was insecure about me looking bald, and the hairline getting higher and higher, and the bald spot right on the crown. And so I did have a lot of insecurities with both of those things going on. And now that I let go of the dye, and the hair came in so beautifully with the natural color, there's no extra color, it's all natural, and it looks really great. There's a whole new level of confidence all around about how I look, and all those insecurities I used to have, even with the dye and the gray hair. I don't have any insecurities about my hair right now, and it really feels great. And like I said, it was well worth it.
Yeah, and again, don't jump into a clinic that offer cheap price, or just a brand name. Do your thorough research, and here Matt he does that for a living, so he does a very deep dive, and again, it's not the first. Just talk to him one time and he booked surgery. He did a very thorough research about my clinic and my background, and then he looked at all the before and after from the YouTube, Instagram, and photo, and that's really instill confidence in him, and then not produce it every been 21 years, so that's really confidence in that. But thank you, and Matt, for sharing your experience with the audience and the viewer, and hopefully the viewer get a glimpse of what he goes through, and help you guys on your journey to do a hair transplant. And don't be afraid to jump in to do it. And then we do have people capable to produce great result.
Yeah. It's something I highly highly recommend, and it is something really is life changing. So, well worth it, and thank you again.
Yeah, and it's good to have the wife involved too, and his wife is very supportive of him too.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
She's very impressed, and she loves my hair how it is, and it is fun for my family to see and say, "Wow, that's incredible," and it looks so natural. And I haven't had a single person out there say, "Hey, you must have had a transplant." Nobody knows it. It looks very natural, very full, and it's really been a wonderful experience. So thank you again.
Thank you.